how to start with art, or how to start with anything. A commenter had asked this question a couple days ago, probably a week ago, and I've been wanting to make a video topic about it. And the most simple and quickest answer is just start, right? And that can be with anything. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't just have to be any type of artistic or creative passion. It could just be with anything that you want to pursue in life, is to just start. Now, that's a very simple and basic answer, but it doesn't seem like as if it explains a lot of things that you would correlate, right, with doing art, because it's, especially creating stuff, is a very difficult thing to do. It's not easy to do, especially if you're going to create something that's going to have any type of actual value to you or to the consumer or to the base audience. So in order for us to basically to just start when it comes to creation, you take whatever materials you have, you take whatever mindset you have at the moment and throw it away, because it's probably a limiting mindset. And you just, like, example, if you want to start drawing, right? I use drawing as the main example because that's what I do. Just take pen and paper and just start. Just start scribbling. Just start scribbling. Look, I'll do it for you. I will do it for you. I will show you how easy it is to just start. I got my sketchbook. Got my pen. I don't even know what's going on. I don't even know what's going on. And so as I'm literally scribbling on the page, right? I'm not even looking at it. I'm not even looking at it. As I'm just scribbling on the page, I'm freeing my mind. This is a good exercise one can kind of do, especially if they want to start drawing. And just to kind of like, it's like get stretching, before you work out or before you go and play a game or something like that, right? Just to kind of get your mind and your body warmed up and ready to be within the zone, right? Within the game or within the practice of whatever you're doing. So in order to just to kind of get like those jitters out, just those feelings of doubt, just start scribbling, right? Just start scribbling, because when people say just start, or when people think of like, how do they start out with something, they want to know how to get as good as possible in the least amount of time, or they want to know the best techniques, right? And I feel like with art, you can go to it, you can learn it in a way that is like that, but it seems very basic and it doesn't seem in a way that is more personified. You're not really applying art to its fullest potential when you are deciding to deliberately learn it like it's kind of like a school plan or a school lesson. Now, if you want to be good at painting, right? Or if you want to be good at drawing, right? Because usually those two things, drawing and painting, they correlate with how well you can actually like replicate what it is that you saw in real life or in reference. Then those are skills that you can learn. But the skill of making art, the skill of being creative, right, the skill of expressing yourself basically, is something that has to be learned from within, and no one can really teach you that. You can read so many books, you can look at so many things, but if you don't have any concrete way to actually go out and to try and see how you can properly express yourself through any type of medium, then it's not going to be easy to be able to make art, right? But if you want to start drawing, if you want to start replicating life around you, then definitely do stuff like still life drawings. Go out into the city or into nature and just draw the nearest thing next to you. Michelangelo, he decided to cast away like all of his teachings, or all of the things that he learned, and then he just went into, I think he went to the mountains or something, and he just like stayed there and like learned from nature for a couple of years. And he's like one of the best artists to have ever lived, right? So it all depends on your own personal process as well, right? Which is individualized by everybody. But in general, if you just want a general basis on how to start, you start by just starting. You take whatever you can, again, like I said, and just do all these scribblings, and then maybe at some point you can make something out of the scribble. Maybe you can see that, like, oh, it looks like there's like an eyeball here, so I'll draw like an eyeball, and then maybe there'd be a nose right here next to the eyeball, and then the mouth. And you don't have to worry about how pretty it looks too, because when you just start with anything, it's gonna look like crap. It's gonna look horrible. You're not gonna like how it looks. It's gonna look like dookie. And in order to get over that, we have to get over like our fear of failure, right? Many times where I would be in school and a friend would like, hey, teach me how to draw something. And then I'll teach them how to draw, and I'll try my best to, just take them through a process, right? A step-by-step process. And when their drawing doesn't turn out like mine, they give up, right? They give up because compared to their first drawing basically ever, compared to my probably like 10,000th drawing at that time, they are getting discouraged, right? But what people don't realize is things like experience, right? Even if someone is very talented and they improve fast, they're still spending a large amount of their time dedicated to making art and to drawing, right? In order for them to be as good as they are. So think about it. Don't think about it in total of like the amount of years they spent, but the amount of dedicated hours they've spent, right? Because two people can have been drawing for 10 years, but one person could have dedicated, I don't know, 1,000 more hours than the other person, right? And then that's why the other person who dedicated more hours is going to be more skilled. So you want to be able to gain that experience, that practical experience, and accrue over time, at least, of course, at your own personal pace, because you might have other things in life that you want to worry about or that you want to do, but you want to kind of like learn drawing on the side. Spend about 30 minutes at least a day, right? 30 minutes at least. Go on Pinterest, which is a very good resource to just draw reference photos and stuff like that. I say don't get stuck on it, but I'd say maybe in order to make it more fun or interactive, draw something around your house. You can draw a family member. You can draw like a nice looking cup or something like that. I have like mugs and cups over here that are shaped like pineapples and skeletons. So you could draw something like that. You can go out next time, maybe you go to a coffee shop or a restaurant. You could take your sketchbook and then just draw something like that. Just draw whatever's around you, right? Draw the food that you're about to eat or something like that, right? And in order to be consistent, take one of these, take a sketchbook or something like that. Maybe not something like this because this is a bit like, it's a bit on the bigger side. Maybe something that'd be easier to carry in like a handbag or something like that, or like some type of satchel that you wear, I don't know. And then so that way you can always kind of have it there in mind that like, maybe I can draw something, maybe there's something that catches my eye and I can draw it. Maybe if you're on a road trip and you're riding passenger, right? You can just literally draw the traffic around you. You can start drawing the cars. You can start drawing the buildings that you pass by. Even if they're not still there, even if you just pass them, try your best to draw from your memory, right? So it's just doing whatever you can, when you can, and with what you have, right? I started off with mechanical pencils. I mean, I've really anytime I pencil sketch, I only use these mechanical pencils, which you can get like a pack of like 20 from like Walmart or the dollar store for like $5 or something like that, or probably more, probably a little bit more, or maybe even less, right? I've been using these like ever since I started drawing, and people were like, "Oh, it looks like you're making a mechanical pencil, like a simple mechanical pencil, look like a professional drawing." Or even not even that, but even a wooden pencil, right? Like your regular pencil that you sharpen or stuff like that. You can start with that, right? You can start with these cheap items and notebook paper. I started off with notebook paper, and then I upgraded to copy paper, and then I upgraded to like a $3 or $5 sketchbook that I got from Walmart, and I just started drawing in that. And I didn't have much skill, but I had a lot of passion to create and to make stuff, and it was just like being able to bring what was in my mind to life, right? And I feel like what kind of defines an artist's skill is to be able to replicate what they have in their mind into the real world, right? So if you're a musician, the sound that you have in your mind and the song that you have in mind, and being able to replicate that as a tangible thing, at least through the medium of hearing, then you have like your skill level has matched up with your imagination. If as an artist or as a drawer, right, as someone who's drawing or painting, if what you see in your mind, right, not on a reference or anything like that, if what you see in your mind is then replicated almost to a T on the canvas or on the sheet of paper, or wherever you're drawing, right? Then that means your skill has come up with your imagination, right? Because we can be very ambitious, we can imagine all these great things, but we don't have the ability to do them, at least not yet. So that's why it's very important to work towards things, right? And even if what is in your mind doesn't come out on the piece of paper, that's okay. You know, you don't have to worry about stuff like that, because over time you're going to develop skills. And you might be asking, like, well, how do I develop skills? Well, to develop skills is to practice, right? You want to try and learn from as many people as you can, because not everybody's going to have the same exact process. Not everybody's going to teach the same way. And maybe one way that someone teaches is going to jive with you better than one way somebody else teaches, right? So that's why sometimes, like, when it comes to university and drawing, like getting from one professor, it's not easy to do so, but you should try and learn from other students who you think are doing better than you, right? You should try and get online resources, right? And then the number one way to learn is also from the world around you, nature, right? Sure, we might not live like, you might be thinking nature as in like living in a forest or in a jungle or surrounded by animals. I wouldn't say that. I'd say pay more close attention to just the world around you, right? Pay more close attention to your own personal nature. Draw your cities, draw the people in your cities. Uh, think about anatomy, just focused on stuff like anatomy and how, there's natural things that form all aspects of nature. I think it's called like the golden rule or something like that, or the golden ratio, things like that, to really focus on, to like know how to almost as if intuitively create something from just whatever is around you, right? Without having to rely on someone else's thoughts or their sayings or their teachings, right? But that's gonna take a lot more time and experience, honestly, to just knowing yourself and to just being able to observe your surroundings a lot better in order to just create better things, right? Because we might not all be able to develop our process on day one. It's gonna take probably day like 2000 or 200 or something like that in order to actually develop our own process and grow from our own process without having to rely on outside resources. Now, earlier I mentioned creating art, right? Instead of just like drawing or painting as a skill, but to actually create something that isn't in anybody else's mind. Think of painters like David Cho or Basquiat. These guys, they have completely different minds, and they enter like some type of mental space that most people aren't in tune with. And a lot of people are able to get their work and really enjoy their work, right? So to kind of be able to get into that mode of creation, instead of replicating or instead of just learning, you have to be able to, in a way, take everything that you know, value it in some way, but then also be able to disregard it and then create a whole new set of rules and then disregard that again, right? Because what you're kind of chipping away at yourself, you're kind of chipping away towards your center, towards your core, and whatever is in your core and like your actual like gut feeling and what's on the actual inside is what is going to create good art. Right now, when it comes to good art, that is purely subjective to you. If you think it's good, then it's good, right? If you think it's good, then it's good. But if other people don't think it's good, then that might make you reconsider what you think about art and stuff like that, right? So it just really all depends on what you're willing to put out there and what you think is going to actually like build an audience or whatever the case may be. But all that is like subjective, all that can be limiting and stuff like that. But yeah, I hope this video helps with anybody who wants to start art, just to summarize, just start, boom, done. I'm done.